morning. I'm Natalie Sexton. I'm a social scientist with USGS, and I'm here this morning to talk with you in preparation for our meeting next month in Miami on the Climate Change Partnership Project. And Jess Thompson was gracious enough to invite me to join you all down in Florida next month. And I have snow boots on this morning because there's 5 inches of snow here, but I hope to be in flip-flops when I see you guys next. And Jess and I have been collaborating a little bit on a project that you guys are familiar with, that she's been working with y'all on, and a project that I'm heading up for the Fish and Wildlife Service refuges, and there's a little bit of overlap as it relates to climate change. So I just want to talk very briefly with you guys about that project today. First wanted to just give you a really brief introduction. I know that several of you at the meeting I have met and look forward to seeing you at the meeting, but some of you probably are not, have not met and not familiar with what in the world USGS is doing involved in this project. So just want to give you a little overview of that and talk just briefly about climate change as it relates to refuges, talk about this national visitor survey that we're conducting on refuges across the country, give you a few highlights from 2 refuges that actually overlap with Jess and my projects, and then talk a little bit about this audience analysis that we're trying to do at a national level with the project that I'm leading up. So I'm part of the Policy Analysis and Science Assistance branch of the USGS, and we're at the Fort Collins Science Center here in Fort Collins. And there's a group of about 10 or 12 of us that are from a lot of different disciplines that really are looking at the interactions of this natural and human environment and trying to aid decision and planning processes with that. Myself have a background in wildlife biology with a human dimensions emphasis. We've got economists, political scientists, so kind of a pretty interdisciplinary mix. I've got a lot of experience working with refuges with a couple of my colleagues, really in a lot of regions across the country, really for the last 8 years, mostly in the context of the comprehensive conservation plans, and then as of late the LPPs, and then some national level efforts like this National Visitor Survey. So that is the list because I didn't forward the slide. So a little bit about climate change and refuges. It's obviously a growing concern for management of refuges. The Fish and Wildlife Service does have a climate change strategy, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, Rising to the Urgent Challenge, which the final document came out in 2010. There's also a very interesting article by Griffith et al. That was in Environmental Management in 2009 that talks about climate change and refuges, and really lays out these various concerns, you know, from changing hydrology to invasive species issues, to habitat loss and disease, all in the context of the mission of the refuge system, which is to conserve, protect fish, wildlife, and habitats. And so obviously there is a need to have adaptation and mitigation with these, and the strategy and this paper lay out a pretty good framework for addressing those and adapting and mitigating. But really not a lot of mention about how to go about doing that in terms of communication and outreach, and a recognition within refuges that they need to be really thinking about this. And so with limited baseline information from visitors as part of this study that we did, they really wanted to have some better baseline information as it relates to climate change, to really start thinking about how to connect with what is really a captive audience. It's 25 million visitors a year to refuges, and how is the best way or best ways to connect and communicate with that group.